leading the way with important local coverage. You're watching WISN 12 News at 6.
Breaking news, community outrage during the search for two missing girls. A crowd surrounded a home believed to be involved in the investigation. 12 News is live as police swarm the neighborhood.
How many workers have tested positive?
That's not a number that we can share.
Why can't you share that?
12 News investigates a coronavirus outbreak at Amazon in Kenosha. Our camera allowed inside to see the changes they've made.
As schools struggle with their pandemic plans, some parents may be facing a daycare nightmare. We'll see how some are adjusting.
Breaking at 6, people set fire to a home near 40th and Lloyd in Milwaukee. There are reports that that home is connected to the search for two missing girls.
Matt Salemi is in News Chopper 12. Matt, we can see that house burning below.
Yeah, Patrick, when we left you at 5:30, they had started a van on fire just behind the house, and then there was a small pile of debris that had been thrown out a back window. They lit that pile of debris on fire, and then were throwing items into the back window. The room right at 5:30 just erupted in flames, and the house has been burning pretty much out of control ever since. It took a while for the fire department to get here. We saw tornadoes of flame and black smoke belching out the side windows of the main story as it quickly spread to the roof, and that's where it is now. But they do now have multiple lines of water on the fire, and they're starting to beat it back a little bit. Some of that black smoke changing to more of a steam at this point. But as you can see, there's still flames belching out of that rooftop. Some of the attic must still be on fire as they pump water into the side windows and into the main floor. Now, there is still hundreds of neighbors and dozens of officers still on the scene here. They're up and down the block. They also have a handful of them right here at 40th and Lloyd, a line of officers allowing the fire department to do their work, keeping the neighbors at bay and safe from all this smoke and fire.
Matt, you've been flying over the scene for a while now. At what point did the fire department arrive there on the scene, and was there an access issue for them?
You know, the neighborhood was definitely choked with community members and cars and squad cars and, you know, traffic trying to work its way through the neighborhood. So I would say there was definitely an issue because it took them more than, I'm going to guess, I wasn't timing it, but I would say it burned out of control for approximately 10 minutes.
All right, we can see they're on the scene right now putting water on that fire. So here's a little more to this story. People gathered outside a home near 40th and Lloyd where they say police arrested upwards of 7 people this afternoon. Our crew was on the ground when the crowd was breaking into houses on 40th Street. Multiple people say they're angry because they don't think police care about missing black teenagers and because they believe that some of the houses on the street are used as sex trafficking businesses. 12 News spoke to family of the missing girls earlier today.
What is it with this house behind you?
I heard the house behind me is a house where they take kids, underage kids, and let them smoke, let them drink, and, you know, do unaged stuff that they ain't supposed to be doing.
So why were the girls, was there some suspicion that they were in this house?
Yeah, it was leads that, you know, tips that told people that they was here, and they seen them over here in this area, and that's what made it.
Do you know if they ever were in this house?
Relatives say the missing girls have been found and are safe. However, police have not confirmed the girls were found because they said they have not been contacted. We are looking again live at this home burning. This is 40th and Lloyd. We're going to stay on top of the story. Matt Salemi is flying in the area. We'll continue to follow developments throughout this newscast. Joyce?
Commitment 2020 coverage now following Vice President Mike Pence's roundtable and rally in Wisconsin. 12 News' Matt Smith is live in Milwaukee. And Matt, this was the Trump campaign's first visit to Wisconsin since the pandemic began.
Joyce, the vice president is back in Washington tonight after meeting with several hundred supporters here in Milwaukee. The Trump campaign tonight back on the campaign trail. Nearly 4 months until Election Day.
Folks, just make sure everything is out of your pockets.
In the midst of a pandemic.
I think they did a great job with the coronavirus, so.
The Trump campaign,
it's working,
is looking to restart in battleground states like Wisconsin. And that means temperature checks and masks before entering.
Some 40 states, just like Wisconsin, are opening up again.
Vice President Mike Pence, head of the White House coronavirus task force inside the hotel ballroom in Milwaukee.
We forfeited some of our personal freedom to put the health of our families and our neighbors first, and we know we're going to continue to use common sense.
Supporters inside spread out, most not choosing to wear masks. The VP even staying to shake hands all seemingly eager for a sense of normalcy, as local health officials still urged social distancing and following CDC guidelines.
It was wonderful. They did everything. They had us separated in there. It wasn't a big deal. So, not a big deal at all.
Outside,
Donald Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
a group of protesters as supporters left.
I don't think much of Vice President Pence at all.
A symbolic divide of the battle ahead for battleground Wisconsin.
So, Matt, how is the Biden campaign responding tonight?
So they put out a statement tonight. The former vice president, of course, the Democratic presumed nominee, accusing the president of, quote, gambling with the health of Wisconsin families. The Biden campaign also saying the president sent Mike Pence here to Wisconsin to help clean up his mess.
Matt Smith reporting live in Milwaukee tonight. Patrick?
Joyce, we want to go back now to Matt Salemi. He's flying over that breaking news at 40th and Lloyd in Milwaukee. Matt?
Patrick, the fire department continuing to make strides with this house fire at the intersection of 40th and Lloyd. You can see most of that black smoke and the flames that we had seen from the roof has now turned to a lighter colored, a little bit of a steam. And we don't see the flames coming through the shingles at this point either. So they continue to make progress. We still have a large police presence in many neighborhoods. And you can see just how hard it is for the neighborhood, for traffic to get through the neighborhood. This is why the fire was able to burn so long before the fire department got here, because they weren't able to get their trucks right up to the road. I do see another set of flames starting now to push back out that peak on the rooftop there. So it seems like every time they turn the hose off of it for a second, the flames start to erupt once again. So they're making strides, but still haven't quite gotten the entire fire burned out. Now, the police presence is up and down the block. I'm going to turn it here to Garfield and 40th Street. And you can see there's dozens of officers still, police vans, squad cars still parked here in the neighborhood from the incident that happened earlier with those two missing teen girls.
Right. Again, this is tied to the search for two missing girls. Family members say the missing girls have been found. They're safe, although police have not confirmed that because they said at last check that they have not been contacted. There was concern. People out there saying that some of the homes, some of the houses on that street are used as sex trafficking businesses. We saw the large crowds out there earlier. And Matt, I want to go back to our 5 o'clock hour. When we were watching this during our newscast, there were two smaller fires outside, and then they quickly went inside one of those homes. One of the fires did. I'm curious, we were reporting that some people out there said that there were some people arrested. Have you seen, with the police out there, have you seen anyone arrested during all of this?
I definitely saw the police in their tactical gear scrambling to the scene. Now, I did not actually witness anybody getting arrested. We were more focused on watching the fire at that time rather than watching through the crowd. But we definitely saw them scrambling. At one point, they seemed to walk away. Now, at this house right here, that's two houses up, they had lit a fire in the alleyway, a sofa fire. They started that on fire, and then the police that were kind of guarding the house that had been broken into walked around the alley to deal with that. And that's when they broke into a van that's kind of right here behind the house. Looks like they finally have that van completely extinguished. But so they moved up to the van, busted the windows, opened the doors, started the van on fire. And then there was a pile of debris right outside one of these back windows here. They started that pile of debris on fire. And then they started throwing chunks of the burning debris into the back window. And that's when the room caught on fire. Then it quickly spread because the fire department wasn't able to get here quickly because of access issues. Once they did start to get some water on it, they were able to make some strides. As you can see now, it looks like they're on their way to having it under control, but not before the house completely gutted. The back steps up to the second story were made out of wood. Those caught fire, and you can see nothing but the burned out shell of that van where this all started is sitting there in the backyard.
Like that van was just starting to burn during our 5 o'clock newscast. Matt, if you can zoom out just a little bit, I don't know if you can pan down. It looked like there were police officers standing guard in the alley there. How close are the people who were standing there watching this burn? Looks like they're right there just a block away.
Right, they're less than a block. They're probably one city lot away. You can see there's like a vacant lot between that house and the house next door. And so there's a group of people standing in the alleyway right there. There's another group of people between houses. You can see they've pulled up new vehicles and they're kind of watching between those houses. And we also have a large group right at the corner of Lloyd where there's another large police presence standing across the intersection of 40th and right at Lloyd Street. And you can see there's probably a couple hundred more people from the neighborhood standing up and down the block right on the other side of that police line.
Matt, earlier we saw some people, it appeared to be going in that house, or they were near that house. Have you seen anyone come out? Do we know at this point if anyone was in that home when it started to burn?
I can't confirm that, but we definitely saw people running up and down the back stairs. But then once the fire set, I did not see anybody exit. But again, they were going up and down, so it's hard to keep track of whether anybody stayed inside for any length of time.
You probably can't see it, Matt, but right now we are showing some of that video of people running up the back staircase there. Again, if you're just joining us, this is a house that is burning in Milwaukee, 40th and Lloyd. It's tied to the search for 2 missing girls. People gathered outside this home earlier this afternoon. We understand from people there on the scene that police may have arrested upwards of 7 people this afternoon. Our crew was on the ground when the crowd was breaking into houses there on 40th Street. You can see the file video there on your left, people running there. On your right is the live picture of that fire. And multiple people say that they're angry because they don't think the police care about missing black teenagers. They also believe that some of the houses on the street are used as sex trafficking businesses. We did hear from family members a little while ago. They said that the missing girls had been found, that they're safe. However, when we checked with police, they were not able to confirm that the girls were found because at that point they said they have not been contacted. Again, we're flying over this scene, breaking news in Milwaukee, on the west side of Milwaukee. Matt, I do want to point out there is a police station that's very close to this area. This is close to Washington Park, which means that there is a station just on the other side of the park, correct?
Yeah, that's right. There is definitely right across the Highway 175. There is another police station right there, just a few blocks away. And the police command center is also just down the road at North Avenue and 43rd Street. So that's also right there, just right around the corner and down the block.
Very close. And again, it did take a little while. We don't know why, but for firefighters to get there on the scene, we don't know if it was an access issue or what was going on. But you can see as Matt flies around there that firefighters are at the scene. They're putting water on that fire. As he zooms in, you see the large police presence there on the ground. Several squads lined up there on a vacant lot and on the streets as well. Police officers standing watch and members of the community standing within a block or so of that area watching this house burn. And Matt, as we were talking about before, at this point, we don't know. We saw the video of people running up and down that staircase. We don't know if anyone was inside. We don't know of any injuries at this point. But it looks as if from this shot right here that firefighters are gaining ground on this fire as this house burns.
Yeah, I haven't seen any flames come out of the roof in quite a while, but I see occasionally a little bit of flame come through. So it looks like there's probably still some fire in the attic. But we've not seen much in the way of black smoke. It looks like they've got mostly steam coming off of it right now. So that leads me to believe that they've got at least on their way to having it under control.
Matt, if you can, just talk us through this scene and what you've been able to witness, because on the left we're looking at video from earlier today. People are kicking that van that you see there on the ground. That van is now charred at this point as Matt flies around. Matt, I want you just to talk us through the developments and everything that you witnessed from the air today, from the moment you arrived to what you're seeing right now.
Right, when we first arrived on the scene, there was police lined up and down the street, but they were up at the intersection of Garfield, where I just showed you all of those squad cars. That was where the largest police presence were. And then there was a handful of officers that were kind of standing around the perimeter of this house right here. And a house 2 doors up, somebody started a couch that was sitting in the alley behind that house. They started the couch on fire. So the officers that were around this house went into the alleyway to kind of see what was burning. And when they did that, that's when the people moved up to the van and started kicking the van like you saw in the video just a moment ago. They broke the doors, they broke the windows, opened the doors, and then started a fire inside the van. Moments later, they started a fire on a little pile of debris that was right outside the back window off the alley just next to the van. And they started that pile of debris on fire. And as it started to pick up steam, they were picking up pieces of that and throwing them into the open, broken window. And then right as we were going to the break at 5:30, that room caught fire, and it just rapidly spread throughout the entire first floor, quickly spread through the second floor and up to the roof. And that's when, about that time is when the fire department got here, when the roof had started to burn. It took them a few moments to get hooked up to the fire hydrant, so the house continued to burn out of control. And then once they did start to get some water on it, they've been slowly making progress getting this fire extinguished.
And again, police there are on the scene. They're keeping people away from that area. We can see people standing by just watching this fire burn as firefighters try to gain ground on this house fire. We're going to stay on top of the story. Matt is going to stay up, and we'll continue to follow it throughout this newscast. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We continue to follow breaking news from 40th and Lloyd in Milwaukee. You can see a house is on fire in that neighborhood. The fire is tied to the search for two missing teenagers. A large crowd gathered in that area earlier this afternoon. There were people going up the staircase to that house. There was a van that was set on fire outside that home. Let's go back to Matt Salemi in News Chopper 12. Matt?
Yeah, this is the area where the first started the fire. The van is right there. When we first arrived here, this couch was burning in the alleyway, and the police left the home here where they had broken in for a few moments to go deal with that. And when they did, they started the van on fire. And then this back window right here that you can see above the tree there was a small pile of debris right outside that back window. They started that pile of debris on fire and started throwing the burning debris into that back window. And then the house caught fire, and it just started raging right through the home. The back staircase where we had seen people running up and down earlier, that also became fully engulfed in flames. It looked like it was made out of wood to me. And you can see the fire department is now here on the scene trying to get this thing completely extinguished. They're making progress, but it looks like there might still be some fire in the attic and in the roof.
Matt Salemi flying over that scene. As for the search for the girls, family members say that the missing teenagers have been found and that they're safe. However, police have not confirmed that the girls were found because they say that they have not been contacted. We're going to stay on top of this story throughout the evening. 12 News investigates the COVID-19 outbreak at Amazon's fulfillment center in Kenosha County. For the first time, reporter Hillary Mintz goes inside for exclusive access to see the safety changes they've made.
The online retail behemoth Amazon in Kenosha was no match for COVID-19. With just over 4,000 workers, the virus spread fast.
Is it really a matter of not if, but when?
I think our associates live in communities. And so if those communities have infection rates, they have infection rates that have the ability to come into our building.
12 News was the only crew allowed inside Tuesday to see the safety changes they've made, like temperature checks at the door. Masks are a must, hand sanitizing stations, social distance markers in break rooms, and across the 1 million square foot facility.
It's been a challenge for us, but we've been able to cope with it.
Amazon has just started to test employees for COVID-19 in a voluntary pilot program. They would come into this area here, you can see testing station, and employees would actually self-administer their COVID-19 test to find out if they're positive.
But the Kenosha County Health Department still doesn't have an exact number of cases.
How many workers have tested positive?
That's not a number that we can share.
Why can't you share that?
We share that information with the county they reside in, anyone they were in close contact with, and our associate population when we do have a new case.
Workers get a text message alert and tell 12 News they've gotten as many as 60 since March.
I've been working 6 days a week since January, and every test that I come up with on the coronavirus is negative. So I believe that they're doing a good job.
In Kenosha, Hillary Mintz, WISN 12 News.
And just in from Minneapolis, nearly 100 positive cases are being reported at fulfillment centers in the Twin Cities. Well, the sky has been a sight to see today. Mark, some wild clouds out there.
Yeah, we've had beautiful cumulus clouds. Of course, we had plenty of sunshine for this morning, and we've also had a little bit of shelf cloud action rolling through. Let's get a look at that, and we'll show you what's going on as we do have very cold air aloft, and we've had a couple of showers, couple of thunderstorms, and that's the cold air that's getting pushed out ahead of the system itself. So it makes this little cloud. A lot of times there'll be some winds with this. This is kind of a minor shelf cloud, but nonetheless, kind of a neat pick. Also, rainbows to enjoy from Random Lake. Appreciate everybody sending in their pictures. Might see more of those rainbows before the evening is out because we do have such a spattering of showers and a couple of thunderstorms in there. Much of the area still dry, but we've got some showers rolling through parts of Ozaukee County, just heading through Cedarburg, making its way up through Port Washington, into Cedar Grove, through Random Lake, and then back into heading towards the Horicon Marsh and towards Theresa in there. That is making its way to the southeast about 40 miles per hour. And you can see just a little bit of shower activity here and there. This will all disappear as the sun goes down for tonight. So have the umbrella handy for this evening. If you like today, you're going to love tomorrow. It's a carbon copy. So if you know what a carbon copy is probably don't. If you never mind. Look it up. All right, you can see the showers that are going to come rolling in the afternoon. Devin, my floor producer, has no idea what a carbon copy is. All right, here we plan your day. Wednesday, just like today. Thursday, absolutely beautiful. Dry until late in the day on Friday, so most of the day should be great. Mainly dry through much of the day on Saturday. An isolated shower or thunderstorm is possible. 66 degrees. I said it's a beautiful sky, and there's the evidence. Also, nice shot here from the Rock Sports Complex in Franklin. Temperature coming in at 64 degrees. Down to 59 degrees in West Bend. Some of that rain-cooled air. Dew point temperatures still aren't bad. It's a little bit stickier, but overall we'll be comfortable for this evening, Wednesday and Thursday. Getting a little bit stickier as we head into Friday into the weekend. A little iffy tomorrow. You can mow that grass on Thursday. It's going to start growing again quickly with all the rain that we've had over the last couple of days. 75 tomorrow with, again, just like today, a chance of storms late. 80 degrees on Thursday, the pick day of the week. 83 on Friday. Most of the day dry, storms late. A few isolated storms for the weekend, and then we start to clear things out. But it will be warm this weekend and into next week. Temperatures into the 80s, and it will be sticky as well. So more beautiful sky pictures to come tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mark. Let's go back to that breaking news that we're following. A house that's on fire, 40th in Lloyd. That's where this is burning right now. That's Milwaukee's west side. As Matt Salemi flies over, this house fire is tied to the search for 2 missing teenagers. Family members tell us that the girls have been found and they're safe. We'll have more on this coming up throughout the evening. We continue to follow breaking news from 40th and Lloyd. A house is on fire. The fire is tied to the search for 2 missing teenagers. Family members tell 12 News the girls have been found and they're safe. A large crowd gathered in the area earlier this afternoon. Some started going up and down a staircase there outside that home. We also spotted a van burning outside. Matt Salemi has been flying over the scene. And Matt, it escalated in a hurry.
Yeah, the fire spread rapidly. The fire department didn't get here. I think it was burning maybe about 10 minutes. Just a few moments ago, Patrick, we saw some of the neighbors here on 40th Street start to throw stuff at the officers. There was a little scuffle, and it looks like it's calmed down at the moment, but there was a little bit of a fight here in the streets right outside with this fire. Looks like it's starting to catch hold in that roof once again.
We'll have more tonight at 10.